Hi guys, That Song Review Guy here, and today is the day. The top 10 best hit songs of 2014. I'm going to be honest, I personally thought 2014 was quite a good year for pop music, all things considered. Whilst my worst of list was quite easy to form and didn't require a lot of time to place the songs, this list was a lot trickier. I had 25 songs to choose from to make my top 10 list, and to be honest, some songs were easier to cut than others, but eventually I managed to come to my top 10. Like the worst of list, all of the songs you'll see here ended up on the official charts company's top 100 biggest selling songs of 2014 list. And whilst many of you out there will disagree with some, maybe even all of the picks, I invite everybody who watches this video to leave your personal top 10 list down in the comment section below. With that said, let's kick things off with my honourable mentions list. Songs that I liked but for one reason or another just missed the top 10. First is Don't by Ed Sheeran. Now, a problem with a lot of breakup songs is that they tend to feel rather generic and don't offer anything that feels genuine or relatable. That cannot be said, however, for Don't, one of Ed Sheeran's best songs off of his second album Multiply, and one of the best songs he's ever written, full stop. Detailing the messy breakup between him and Ellie Goulding is handled in a really mature way, and it isn't some biting, scathing, in-your-face kind of track, but a detailed song that lists off rather subtle things that went on between the two of them and paints a very balanced portrayal of the events that occurred. With a catchy instrumentation and great production, this song showed off a very grown-up side to Ed and is one of the many examples of how this man has grown and improved as a songwriter over the last 2 years. Great work. Next is Nobody to Love by Sigma. Being a bit of a dance music snob, you'd have thought that songs like this would have had no chance of making my honourable mentions list, let alone having a chance of making the top 10 list. However, this is the perfect case of a really simple, uncomplicated dance song that works really well and is effective in its presentation. Ripping the chorus from Bound To by Kanye West, a song that I actually really like, coupling it with simple production choices, a really decent and memorable piano hook to boot, and a great crescendo that doesn't waste its opportunity to make an impact. This year saw UK drum and bass duo Sigma, headed up by Cameron Edwards and Joe Lenzi, show that dance music can be really good and you don't need to overload the song with production that causes your head to explode. Next is Ugly Heart by GRL. I don't think I'm the only one who had never heard of GRL until the announcement of the suicide of former member Simone Battle, and maybe that wouldn't have led to this song being played on the UK radio. Nevertheless, I'm glad it was, because I actually really like this track. It's bright, upbeat, catchy and very fun to listen to. A song detailing a guy that the girls know who is appealing on the outside, yet due to him having an ugly inside, causes them to denounce this person. It's something new and refreshing that was a very pleasant welcome to the charts this year, and if I'm being honest, maybe I'm embarrassing myself here, who knows, but I'm actually kind of curious as to what their first album is going to be like. Hell, if it's anything like Ugly Heart, that can only be a good thing in my books. Next is Crying For No Reason by Katy B. I talked about this song earlier this year, and I'm really surprised how well it holds up even now. I think some people may have forgotten about this song, and to be honest, I don't see why. For once, Katy B actually allows her voice to do the work, and it pushes the song forward. Her voice, while it may not be anything groundbreaking, works really well with the electro synth pop production, which holds back just enough to make Katy the star of the song, and is easily the best song on what was, by all accounts, a pretty unsatisfying album. Shame, because I thought Katy had really turned a corner. Alas, it just wasn't meant to be. Next is Prayer in C by Lily Wood and The Prick and Robin Schulz. A song that was initially recorded and released in 2010 but didn't chart until 4 years later. Prayer in C is a real nostalgia trip for me. It's the kind of dance track that transports me back into the late 90s, early 2000s, where simple yet timeless dance tracks were all the rage, and while the buying public may gravitate towards the electro-heavy tracks, where the only interest is to see how quickly the song can deafen them, Prayer in C is so chilled and relaxing. It's such a wave of relief with every passing listen. I just wish that there wasn't so many double negatives in this track. That's the only thing that stops it from making the top 10 list. Next is Stay High by Tove Lo featuring Hippie Sabotage. Describing a situation where the protagonist attempts to get over her recent breakup through alcohol, drugs and other hedonistic pleasures, Tove Lo's Stay High is an eerie and frightening trip into one person's desperation to forget about their ex-lover, if be it temporarily through rather unpleasant ways and means. The production matches the tone of the song so perfectly, creating this very slurry, almost drunk-like state of mind that puts the listener in the same position as the person in the song. And although the percussion tries to create an upbeat feeling of elation and fun, it somehow enhances the singer's feelings even more. The percussion tries masking the true nature of the song, just as the singer is constantly drinking in order to hide her emotions. Great stuff from a very promising artist. And finally, Hideaway by Kaiser. Let's face it here, Hideaway was destined to be a smash hit, not just because it's a dance track, but because it's so infectious, chilled and easy to listen to. It was such a welcoming presence on the radio. Kaiser's lofty vocals lift you up into the clouds, showing such control with her voice that complements the production so well. Much like Pregnancy, it has such a 90s house music vibe to it that has layers of sophistication and doesn't feel the need to blow your eardrums out of your head. What's really impressive here is that this was a song that was written, according to Kaiser herself, in the space of 90 minutes, and what results is a song that you'd swear was made in a much longer time period than that. No matter what anyone says, that's impressive to write a song this good that quickly. So those were my honourable mentions, and now on to the main event. The number of piano ballads that made the year-end 100 list pales in comparison to last year. That much is evident. The most obvious ballad is, of course, All of Me by John Legend, becoming the third biggest selling song of 2014 and ending up as number 10 on my worst of list for being boring as piss and as emotionally compelling as an enema. Another piano ballad, on the other hand, was at the opposite end of the spectrum, and say what you want, I really do like this song. I know this song has dividing opinions across the spectrum, and you know what, I can understand why. The instrumentation is very basic. In fact, you could argue it's too basic. Lead singer Ian Axl's vocals don't have enough power to really drive home the point of the song, and Christina Aguilera's on this track, and, well, everyone just loves to hate on Christina Aguilera, don't they? But if I'm going to be honest, it's those problems that those people have that I actually think work to this song's advantage. The instrumentation is basic, I'll grant you that, repeating the same chords over and over again for the almost 4-minute running time, introducing a string section about a minute in. But by keeping it simple and sparse, it allows an atmosphere to build in the song, which in turn allows the lyrics to have more impact upon listening to them. Too many love songs tend to have this grandiose sound to them, but in this case, less is more, and it's all the better for it. Ian Axl's rather weak vocals actually does play to this song's advantage, portraying himself as a desperate individual who is seeking to salvage this relationship, but ultimately feels that maybe the best option is to save face, swallow his pride, and move on in life. Christina Aguilera, I have to say, approached this song perfectly. It's one of, if not her most understated performances that she's ever given, and adds a new dimension to this song. By having her mimic the lyrics that Axl is singing, it gives us a song that works from both perspectives, highlighting that there are in fact two people in this relationship, both who share similar feelings, and that it's not just one person who has to make an effort here, but both of them. For me, this surpasses the original. Oh, don't get me wrong, the original is not bad by any standards, but with two people performing this track, it takes it to a whole new different level. One of the things that really bores me now when it comes to songs in terms of the topic is the generic party song that glorifies outlandish behaviour and makes out that getting drunk and wasted off your ass is pretty much the greatest thing that anyone could accomplish. Although these songs weren't exactly rife in the charts this year, but given a day or two I could probably write out a sizable list. Wouldn't it be nice if, just for once, we had a song that actually painted this picture in a completely different light? Completely flipped the script and showed what is seen as something to be proud of in a very different and unique perspective. Well, someone did do that this year, and it wasn't some insightful piece by the likes of Lupe Fiasco or Kendrick Lamar. No, funny enough, it actually came from a 39-year-old Australian woman. Sia's album, 1000 Forms of Fear, received critical acclaim from no and every single critic out there who reviewed the album. Personally, I found myself split down the middle of that album. I found it to be an album riddled with too many borderline average tracks that were carried by 2 or 3 really good tracks. I think that might have been one of the reasons why Chandelier was chosen to be the lead single. Honestly, it's one of those 2 or 3 tracks that stands out as being the best on that album. Putting that to one side for a moment, it's a song that really does deserve a lot of credit. For all of its boasting of a percussion-heavy track, which, depending on your listener, can be a turn-off, I didn't mind it too much because I felt that it worked in the context of the song. Delving into the lyrics, it's about the protagonist's need to put on this facade of a wild party girl having fun and drinking herself stupid in order to keep up said facade. But behind the mask shows a girl who's on the verge of self-destruction, perhaps drinking in order to force this air of sadness down and hiding her pain from others, living for the night and having a good time, all for the sake of forcing tomorrow from her mind. The heavy percussion intertwined with synthesizers, militant-like drum beats and other musical interludes, including reggae sounds, gives this song the right amount of light and shade, contrasting with the lyrics to try and make the song sound happy. But those who go into the lyrics really understand what this song is about, and it makes this song well worth the praise. Sia's vocals here really do steal the show, and although she does sound like she's in a competition with the instrumentation as to who can cause the most damage, the instrumentation to the listener's eardrums or Sia to her vocal cords, I can't deny that with every listen the song just grew on me and makes it worthy to be on this list. Sia gave everything she had to this song, and I'm not gonna fault her for that. If Maroon 5 are proof of a mediocre band descending into absolute tripe where it goes beyond belief as to how that group could still have a fan base, OneRepublic are the complete opposite. Although this group has had its fair share of disdain in their early years, I didn't mind them as much. Okay, they weren't great or anything particularly special, but they were decent enough. But gradually, they reached a point where they kind of lost their identity and didn't know what they wanted to be. Whilst everyone was gung-ho about Counting Stars, a song that, honestly, I think is slightly overrated, but that's just me, I do get the appeal of this song, and it may just be the best thing that OneRepublic has ever released. What makes this song such a captivating track is the sheer surprise of what is delivered. One thing that you would never have expected from OneRepublic, let alone Ryan Tedder of all people, is a dark, brooding song that has shaken the identity of this band completely. A band that is more commonly known for delivering lightweight pop over the years, to all of a sudden come out and drop this track is really unusual and unexpected. Yet it was a spark of brilliance on their behalf. You know instantly what you're in for with the opening pounding drum piece, coupled with the piano chords that match the atmosphere that's carried all the way through with the percussion-heavy instrumentation, and it maintains its visceral nature all the way through from beginning to end. The lyrics painting this picture of Tedder trying to salvage what seems to be a relationship that's destined to the scrap heap, with himself admitting that his attempts are more than likely in vain. That's not going to stop him, however, from what he sees as his devotion to save what is a desperate situation. But it's Tedder's vocals that really do steal the show. Somewhere leading up to Native, Tedder found his balls and had a few sandpaper cocktails along the way, because the man just throws himself into this song. He's never shown as much passion for his song's content as he does here. If this song shows anything, it's that OneRepublic and Ryan Tedder in general have just begun scratching the surface of what they're truly capable of. If they choose to keep going down this route, who knows what they'll do next. But for me, I'm certainly keeping an eye on them. I think I mentioned this in a previous video, but every year an artist or group is awarded the Brits Critics' Choice Award, chosen by a select panel from the British phonographic industry as to whom they see as the next big thing for the year. Previous winners who have gone on to be successful have included the likes of Adele, Emily Sandé, Tom Odell and Ellie Goulding, all of them going on to have varying degrees of success. Last year, however, a not so well-known singer-songwriter called Sam Smith won the award, and how well did he do? Well, he did exceptionally well, dropping what I thought was a pretty good album, became a huge star both here and stateside, and released what I personally thought was one of the most beautiful tracks that I'd heard all year. What really amazes me about this song is how basic the lyrics are and how passionately they are delivered, and how the music gives this song the intended feel that the artist was aiming for. Although it's completely different in topic, this is the kind of song that all of me only wished it could be. Heartfelt, emotionally charged, impactful and honest in its delivery. Sam Smith has already shown himself as an artist who has not only become one of the biggest of the whole year, but an artist who's easily going to become someone who's going to be remembered for a long time. Stay With Me is a simple gospel-style ballad detailing the story of the morning after a one-night stand that the protagonist has engaged in. And although he recognises that this is just a fling and nothing more, he feels heavily weighed under by loneliness, so much so that he doesn't want this person to leave him and just wants to spend more time with them. The instrumentation is simple yet effective, constructing of 3 simple piano chords backed by a gorgeous string arrangement. It's a tried and tested method of music that not only works but really drives home the song and delivers a basic yet great track. This isn't littered with hyperbole or smothered with cliches. Instead, it's an honest track that feels really personal and is drenched in emotion. Sam, keep up the good work,